Hi everybody and welcome back again today, and thanks for joining me. I'm Kevin at Smart Home Improvement People. So what we're going to discuss, have a little chat about today. So today what we're going to do is talk about the wider world of home improvements, which is obviously what we normally do. But what we're going to specifically talk about is tilt and turn windows. Okay, because obviously tilt and turn windows are a unique window which offer a blend of style and functionality. But at the end of the day, what is actually the real cost of tilt and turn windows? So what we're going to do is just break it down, explain a bit about what tilt and turn windows if you've never come across them or don't know what they are, and what the financial costs are. Are they cheap, are they expensive? So that's what we're going to do today. So first of all, what are tilt and turn windows? So for those that are unfamiliar with this style of window, they're basically a versatile window system that can be opened in two ways. Okay, and to make it really simple, without me being seen as my usual, as my wife and kids would say, sarcastic self. Okay, it's a window that tilts, so it has a tilt mode, so the window tilts inwards at the top, allowing ventilation without obviously compromising security. Okay, and then the other thing it can do, this is why I say I'm going to be seen as being sarcastic, is it has a turn mode as well. So the entire window swings open, okay, providing full access for cleaning, and so you can get wider views. So it's really easy. If you don't want to be hiring like a window cleaner and you want to make sure your windows are nice and clean, you can just pull them straight in the whole window and just scrub it. Now obviously the other side is, if you do have young kids, it can be a bit on the dodgy side. I'm not going to say dangerous, but it can be a bit on the dodgy side. But if they are accidentally left open, but they could try climbing through and do a jumping act potentially. I'm not saying that it will, but there is always that risk. Okay, so the next step of what we got to take a look at today, okay, is the cost breakdown. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. Okay, and one of the first thing I'd say is they're not the most expensive style window. Okay, that would be left to other styles. Okay, and they're not the cheapest, which is going to be your case, as a general rule, is going to be your casement window. Okay, but they're somewhere in the middle. Okay, so the first thing you've got to take a look at is the window size and quality. So obviously the bigger the window's going to be, the more the price is going to go up. Unfortunately, that's just reality at the end of the day. Okay, and the more of the windows you do get, okay, obviously it's going to cost more money, but the potential is, and it's like I often say, you can haggle with a company, and quite often most double glazing companies, or at least double glazing companies I've personally worked for in the past, they'll start giving you discounts. So for each window they may give you 10% or something like that off each window, because they don't want to be selling you one window. If you've got 15 windows in the house, they want to be replacing all 15 windows. And the argument is probably, if you say for instance each window is £500, okay, and my maths ain't that great at the end of the day, which is quite embarrassing, and you've got 15 windows times £500, which equals £7,500, you're probably not going to go for it if you're going to be charged the same amount. But if you arguably got, say for instance, they were willing to give you 10% off, you may go for it. So you're going to save a considerable amount of money, and that's what most double glazing companies will do, because they want the business in at the end of the day, because there's so much competition. Next thing you've got to take into account is the type of glass. Now obviously in the marketplace as things stands, there are a lot of different types of glass. You know, there's a lot of different manufacturers of glass, like, you know, bigger names like Pilkington. You've got your local glaziers that do it. Okay, so obviously the more energy efficient that the glass is, and I hate going on about this term, energy efficiency. So, but the reality is, the more energy efficient the glass is, the more expensive the window is going to be. So if it's at the top of the energy efficiency, okay, for argument's sake, the glass may cost, let's say for instance, for argument's sake, £200. But if you got one right at the bottom of the scale, it may only cost 50 quid. So the more energy efficient, it's going to be more expensive, unfortunately. You know, that's just the way it is at the end of the day. So always take into account, you know, what your budget is and how energy efficient you want it to be. You know, to obviously, you know, a lot of people, I know my wife's going to be saying, yeah, but if it's going to keep the electricity bill or the gas bill down, you know, so we're not having to put the heating on as much and all that kind of stuff. You might want to take that into account at the end of the day. Next thing you've got to take into account is the mechanisms. So it's the security of the window. Okay, so different windows have different styles of locking mechanisms. Different windows have a different amount of locking mechanisms as well. So you might want to take a look at the security point of view of the window or the windows that you're going to take a look at. You know, what's going to be best for you at the end of the day. And then the other thing you may want to consider, which I would always insist that you should take a look at, is the installation cost. Are you going to use a company where they're going to provide the window and install it? You know, the likes of your Anglian or Everest, or to be honest, most double glazing companies will do that. Or are you going to go down the route of finding an installer yourself? So find the window, for instance, online, or go to somewhere like, I don't know, B&Q or Wix or something, and go and get the window so you can get bottom dollar price, so you can maximise bang for your buck, and then go and get an installer, which you may find on, like for instance, Checkatrade or somewhere like that, and then get them in to obviously install it for you. Just the time that I need my wife calling me. Okay, she's gonna throw a paddy for me hanging up on her. So there's some of the things that you may want to consider. Okay, now the big question is, how much is it going to cost though? How much is a tilt and turn window going to cost? Well, a lot of the time it's not as bad as you may think. Okay, so for an average price, okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to separate it, because obviously I've spoken about fitters and everything. So for an average price, for an actual tilt and turn window, if you're going down the route of UPVC or aluminium, okay, you can be looking anywhere between about £400 up to about £930. Okay. Then to get somebody to fit it, okay, you're going to be looking around about £250 to £300. Okay, so if you go midway between that, okay, you're going to be looking at around about 750 quid per window. Okay, and that's to get the window and get it installed. Now, if you're looking at wood grain or wood, at the end of the day, a wooden window, okay, obviously the price is going to be more expensive. Okay, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Wood is more expensive than UPVC or plastic. So, as a general rule, okay, for a installation, the installation cost isn't really going to change. You're looking at 250, 300 quid still. Okay. What is going to change is the actual cost of the window because of what the frame's made of. So reality is you're looking between still around about 500, but it can go up to about 1,400 to 1,500 pounds. So the reality is you're looking at around about £1,000. Okay, so there's not much of a price difference. It is a few extra £100 to go down the route of wood. Now, obviously, most people when they do get tilt and turn windows, I know my mum used to have them in the first house we ever owned, do go down the route of UPVC, which is what most people do have nowadays. Okay, so I hope this video has helped anybody that's listening at the that's been watching. Okay, if you do have any questions, don't hesitate, just drop us a comment down below. If there is anything that you would like us to create a video about, that you'd like more information about, obviously put that down below as well. Okay, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. We would appreciate it. But for now, thanks for listening, and we'll speak to you again a bit later.